Great, thanks very much, Gwen, and thanks very much for the invitation, and thanks for staying around, last but not least, and saving the best to last, I guess. So what I'll take you through here today is the portfolio. As Gwen mentioned in her introduction, so previously we were part of a company called Mariana Resources, which was acquired last year by Sandstorm. And really what Sandstorm wanted in that acquisition was a high-grade discovery that we had in Turkey called Hot Maden, which was a high-grade gold-copper discovery. Of course, when Sandstorm acquired Mariana, they also inherited a portfolio of projects in Argentina, and they also inherited a portfolio of projects in Ivory Coast. Now, around New Year, we were able to spin out the Ivory Coast assets into a company called Awali Resources, so that's now been up and running for a few months. And the second major spin-out is this one here, which is the Argentine portfolio. And it's quite an amazing portfolio because this is something that Mariana basically had put together since 2006. So it's been a long time. A lot of work has been done on this portfolio. But of course, as Gwen mentioned in the beginning, then when we had the discovery in Turkey, we really had to park this because the discovery in Turkey was such a phenomenal discovery that we just had to park these projects for the moment. But now they're back, and we look forward to taking these on. So this is just a photograph from some drilling that was done a few years back. This part of Argentina, this is flat countryside, this is sheep grazing countryside, and we'll see on some maps there's quite a few mines in our district, but very easy to operate in this area. Forward-looking statements, you would have seen a few of those already. So, new to mention, the company that was selected to put the Argentine assets in, it originally had two projects in Canada. So one is a Domain, which is a joint venture with Yamana, that's in Manitoba. And the second project is Savant Lake, which is in Ontario. And basically both of those projects, fairly low-level work had been done on those projects, and they're still ticking along in the background. But this acquisition, the acquisition of this Argentine portfolio, really changes the profile completely of the company. And it brings back to the market essentially a very extensive portfolio of some good gold, silver projects in southern Argentina. So the key points, I guess, in terms of this Argentine portfolio, three main projects. The flagship project, which we call Las Calandrias. There is a small resource on that, about 490,000 ounces. That's in the indicated category. But a lot of upside hasn't been tested, and we'll have a look at that in a little bit more detail. But that is the flagship project, and that's really where we'll kick off activities. And the second project is Los Cisnes, which is a high-grade silver project to the south of Cerro Moro. And the third project is Cerro Blanca. But all of these are actually part of a very large portfolio of about 860 square kilometers, which has basically been acquired over 10 years or so. And Mariana, over the years, had probably spent close to $20 million bringing these projects up to speed. So what we'll be talking about here are projects that are ready to go. This is sort of plug and play. We've got the targets ready to go, and we can hit the ground running in terms of taking these things forward. There's a very strong management team behind that. I myself am the CEO. We've had a lot of experience in this district. So before Mariana, I was the CEO of a company called Extori Gold Mines. People who were investing back in 2010 to 2012 might remember Extori. That was the company that had the Cerro Moro discovery in this same neighborhood that we'll talk about now, and was acquired by Yamana. And a new corporate structure, concurrent with the acquisition, we've also done a raising out of this. Sandstorm Gold has come out as the major shareholder with 10.3%, and management also controls about 14%. So just to zoom into where we are. So the projects are basically in what we call the Deseado Massif. It's in Santa Cruz province. This is southern Argentina. This is a relatively new province. There was no historical mining in this before 1990. So all of the mines you see on the map here are relatively new discoveries. The oldest mine here is Cerro Vanguardia, which is Anglo Gold's operation. That was built in 1998. And since then, we've had a number of new operations come on stream. So, if I look at our specific neighborhood, you might have seen that Yamana, for example, the Cerro Moro discovery that I talked about, they had the first doré pour here just a few weeks back. So it is a district. There's lots of movement, both in the mine development side and also the exploration side. In terms of our projects, as I mentioned, 860 square kilometers. The key projects, Las Calandrias, all the green squares or the green blocks there are our concessions. What you see is our immediate district in terms of the projects that we have sort of around us, a combination of mines, and some of them are very new mines, and also a number of exploration plays. So one of the key things is with that resource, what actually happened when Mariana was exploring the Las Calandrias property, which was the flagship property. They spent a lot of time drilling a lower grade deposit in the south called Calandria Sur, which was really a dome type hosted, really a bulk tonnage type system. But to the north of that, a small component of the resource, running about 9 grams, was this Calandria Norte vein. And essentially what's happened is, in the time when the drilling was happening on the project, they spent a lot of time on that low-grade resource. It was a great technical discovery, and it was something new for the time. But the reality is what really turns the dial here is high-grade deposits. And we saw that with Cerro Moro. It was a great high-grade discovery, which then Yamana acquired. So therein lies the potential here for New Dimension, is that we have all these high-grade targets that weren't tested. The first one, which will be the first cab off the rank, is Las Calandrias, which is the Calandria Norte vein. We'll be looking for extensions to that. And then we have a series of subparallel veins, which also were not adequately tested during the years when the project was active. So really, the big story here is there's a lot of untested high-grade targets here. We know what we need to do in terms of pushing the projects forward, but the focus here is squarely on high-grade gold and silver mineralization going forward. And this slide here just really shows the location of that. But I guess one of the things with this property is that it's flat countryside, easy access. This is perfect mining territory, very little history in terms of old mines. But what you do see on the photograph there are the extensions that we still have to test. If we look, for example, at Calandria, we have the extensions to the north and to the south, and we have some of these subparallel vein structures to test as well. So there's a lot of upside here to test in terms of high-grade gold and silver, and that for us is first prize. So really, first prize, what we're looking for here is a 1 to 2 million ounce high-grade gold-silver discovery. If it's more, better. But as Gwen also mentioned at the beginning, the other big advantage we have here, Santa Cruz province is actually in an interesting stage in its history where there's a lot of mill capacity, there's a lot of operating plants that don't actually have ore to feed them. So the plan A, I guess the first prize for us would be to make a major standalone discovery, but the second option we have is to obviously look at a smaller discovery could easily be processed at any number of plants in this district. So for us, the growth opportunities are multiple in terms of standalone discoveries and also processing smaller deposits. Capital structure, so right now there's 48 million shares outstanding. As part of the raise, most of those, about 3/4 of those are actually in a hold period till September, so there's only about 8 million shares free trading right now. So we have $3.5 million in cash, and as I mentioned, Sandstorm Gold is the biggest shareholder and management directors with 14%. So in terms of now with that cash, we have the targets clear. The plan is to drill 5,000 meters of drilling at the main projects. So what we will be doing is we will be starting at the Las Calandrias and Los Cisnes projects. That will be for the next few months, so we'll have lots of news flow here going forward. Beyond that, we're looking to get a resource update, so a mineral resource update for middle of September. So over the coming months, you'll see lots of news flow, drill results, a resource update come September, and then of course beyond that, the plan is to continue with drilling. But the really exciting thing about the portfolio, we know the lay of the land, the targets are ready to go, we've got a good team on the ground, and the targets are very clear. And as you know, as I say, we don't need to spend 12 months generating the targets, they're ready to go basically today. So the idea basically is that next week we'll be drilling, so basically we're very, very close to actually moving that project forward. In terms of the two Canadian projects, they will just tick along quietly along the side. But for the moment, talking about the next few months, the main focus will be the Argentine projects. So that, in terms of the opportunity, so just as a summary of what the company is all about, so we're looking at high-grade deposits in a very mining-friendly jurisdiction. Santa Cruz has been very supportive. For those who are familiar with Argentina, to my mind, there are 3 provinces you want to be in, and they all start with S: Santa Cruz, San Juan, and Salta. So they're really the provinces you do want to be in. They're very supportive of mining, and of course, they do get the royalties from that, so they're very keen to support it. Strong leadership team. We have a lot of experience in the district. We can make these projects work, and we can take them forward very quickly so we can hit the ground running. And of course, a very strong shareholder base. All right, so that's basically New Dimension in 10 minutes. I guess that's the executive summary, but there's obviously a lot more information on the website. There's a much more detailed presentation. You can actually go on there and find more information about the projects, but that just gives you an overview in terms of where we are and where we're going. So, excellent.